Hey guys, so in today's video I am going to be explaining my best tips and tricks on how to be productive in this new school year or just in your life in general. I know sometimes it can be hard to be productive with so much distractions around you, but I hope some of these tips will help you. And if you did enjoy the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for new videos on every Tuesday and Friday. So now let's get on to the video. So my first tip for you guys is to set your priorities. So a lot of people say that they don't have time to work out, they don't have time to study for that test, but the truth is you are just not prioritizing those things enough. And I think that is a big problem, because if you really wanted to do something, or you really wanted to achieve that goal, then you would make that your priority. And I know that some of us are guilty of coming and sitting at home on our phones for an hour after school or watching Netflix all night, and that's just because you're making those things your priority. And it's okay to still do those things, but you have to make sure that you put your priorities on top of them, and then maybe spend less time doing those things, and maybe you do them after you are finished everything. So what I would suggest is to look at what is distracting you and take a look at the things that are taking up a lot of your time, and ask yourself, is that really something that you want to prioritize? Is that something that is really going to help you get to your goal? And if the answer is no, then maybe it's time to shift your priorities a little bit in order to make sure that you have time to get done everything that you want to. My next tip for you guys is to do your favorite things first in the day. This can be really helpful, because sometimes I know if I have a huge to-do list and I don't feel in the mood to do any of them, I tend to just put off everything on my list and I don't get any of the things done, which is not the best way to be productive, obviously. So my best tip for you guys is to look at the thing on your to-do list that excites you the most, that you want to do the most. Whether it be, even if it's the easiest thing, like making a nice breakfast or going for a walk, those things, they are productive. So just pick your favorite thing first, and then once you kind of get moving, I find it's a lot easier to get the rest of the things done on your list. So I don't recommend jumping into the hardest, most boring, terrible homework assignment. I would save that for a little bit later, maybe middle of the day, when you're kind of at your productivity peak, I guess you could say. And so I definitely recommend trying that, because you will find you will get a lot more done than if you try to jump into the things that you really don't want to do. Because even if you do start working on them and you really push yourself, you're going to burn out halfway through the day, and you won't get done half of the stuff that you would have been able to if you had just kind of paced yourself a little bit. So I definitely recommend giving that a try. My third tip for you guys is to take frequent breaks. And I know that sometimes when you tell people oh, work less, you'll be more productive, they're what? So confused. But I don't mean work less, but there have been countless studies performed that say people who work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break, or 30 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, 45 and take a 5-minute break, or whatever it may be. You might have to play around with what works best for you if you're just starting out, maybe, and you find you can't stay focused for very long. You might have to start with just 10 minutes and then you reward yourself with a 5-minute break and slowly work your way up a little bit. But I would not recommend really going more than 45 minutes without a break, depending on what it is that you're doing, just because then your brain kind of burn and crash, and you get tired and you end up getting less work done anyway. So sometimes by giving yourself those short breaks, it can prevent a huge crash, because sometimes I find if I'm just going, I get really tired, and then I spend 2 hours watching Netflix. But when really I could have just taken 5-minute breaks, and it's only 25 minutes, you know what I mean? So sometimes it can pay off to take little breaks where you just scroll on your phone, don't do anything that's on your to-do list, go for a walk, whatever it is, and you will feel so much better, and it will increase your productivity by a lot. Now, my next tip for you guys is to be organized. So I know sometimes if you don't have everything written down, and your mind just kind of scrambles, you're oh, I gotta do this, but I don't know where this is, and I think that this is I have to go out at this time. But so my biggest tip is to be organized, because all those thoughts racing in your head never ever work, and you will end up forgetting things, and you will end up not getting as much done as you should, and you'll also end up wasting time, because if you are not organized, that means in your head, and also physically, if your desk isn't organized and you're trying to work, you can't find your papers, you end up wasting time trying to look for things, and then you can't get as much done, and it's really annoying when you're trying to get a lot done and you don't know where anything is, and you don't know what you have to do, you just don't know what to do, and it ends up stressing you out a lot. And then again, you'll just end up like tossing it all aside, being like, oh, I'll do it another day. And then you'll just have a chill day, which, I mean, it's fine to have a chill day once in a while, don't get me wrong. But if you're having them every day, it's a bit of a problem, and you won't get anything done that you needed to do. And you'll end up feeling really terrible about it afterwards. So by being organized, you can have a list of things you need to do and when you need to do them, so you feel a little less stressed, and you also know where everything is. So by the time you are ready to complete that task, it takes about half the time because you have everything you need and where you need it. My fifth and final tip for you guys is to not multitask. This can lead to a lot of wasted time because you think you're being super productive because you're like doing 100 things at once, and you're like, wow, I'm like really productive. I'm like trying to, like, I don't know, like type up an essay while I'm doing my art project, and it's fine, I got two hands. Like, no, that never works. Or you're like going back from one thing to another like every 5 minutes. Like, that's not gonna work because especially, like, you need to be focused on one thing, and even if you are like only doing something for 10 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this for 10 minutes and I'm gonna focus on something else for 10 minutes. Like, that's still not really gonna work because by the time you kind of get into the groove of working, your time's gonna be up and you're gonna be working on something else, and then you get into the groove of working on that, and it just keeps going back and forth. So my recommendation is to stop doing that and just look at your to-do list and say, okay, right now I'm going to focus on this, and then at 10 I'm going to focus on this, and make your list like that because it'll take you way less time to do your tasks and you will end up getting way more done because of it. Okay, so I hope that you all enjoyed that video, and I hope that these tips are at least somewhat beneficial to you and that you will try some of them out in the new upcoming school year, and hopefully it will improve your grades. And if you need any other help with time management and productivity, like tips on a good school year, I have a couple videos that I have, and I will link them down below, so you should definitely go check them out if you want to, and please make sure to subscribe and let me know what you think. I hope you all have a great day or night wherever you are, and bye!